If you watched the previous video on triggers to the Neptune transit, and especially if you've seen all three videos in this series, you may be wondering why it is that, since I stressed in the earlier and more detailed videos that this transit is huge, because coming from the 8th house and being made by a compromised natal planet that the Orange Menace has dreadfully misused throughout his whole life, why then would I mention unfavorable media stories he is likely to be the recipient of? Well, first let me say there is absolutely no doubt the transit is huge, and the risks it entails connected most primarily to the various calamities one can encounter in the 8th house, some of which he has manufactured for himself via the way he has lived, but in other cases because they could appear for the same reason or just because, so to speak. However, as it turns out, unfavorable media is one of Trump's major vulnerabilities because if media is what propelled him to the top, one could also say it had a huge hand in bringing him back to Earth, and in any case, he is forevermore the toddler trying to get attention through a media he was once able to intimidate and manipulate, but now can only stand by as they crucify him again and again with information that makes him look bad. And in the realm of astrological significance, this transit, aside from the dangerous and even terminal threats that a slow mover like Neptune parked in the 8th house issues, media is a big part of it because Neptune at his birth is in the 3rd house, which is one of the houses of media. It's in the media axis of Libra Aries. So now Neptune transiting through the 8th and squaring both ends of his full moon strongly suggests the media isn't going to be good. And the fact that his Sun and Moon axis is Gemini Sagittarius and is the natural sign polarity that would fit into the 3-9 axis, and therefore media, doubles down on this theme. And when I mention transits of Venus or to Venus, the topic persists, since Venus rules the 3rd sign, and if it's Mars challenging or being challenged by transit, like it will be doing in early May through the axis Hollywood T-square, then same thing again, because Mars rules 9, and we're back to the media axis. Indeed, if Jupiter hops on, and as a matter of fact, though I didn't mention it in the previous video, it has indeed joined the fray, because now it is opposing his Mars. And where does Jupiter come from? The 3rd. So media again. This chart literally screams media, 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 but the Donald has reached the point in his karmic timeline where media will be anything from a persistent source of irritation he can do little about, to the nightmare reports he will have to face when they eventually tell us about the big stuff that is sure to hit him within the scope of this Neptune transit.